Thank you, and good evening, everyone. Buenas noches, bienvenidos, damas y caballeros, y niños. I'd like to say, just to start with, I think we owe a debt of gratitude to the Latin Recording Academy and to the Grammy Museum for sponsoring an event like this. It really is a special night. I've been covering Latin music for a long time, and in Los Angeles, we're just honored to have the industry here that is able to bring artists like Marta Gómez and her band. It's going to be a treat tonight. I've often been asked, why do we need a separate Latin Grammy apart from the regular Grammys? And I think this is why. I mean, there's music that you're going to hear tonight that's so wonderful, so special. It really needs a special showcase. And rather than being treated as a sideline or an afterthought. So with that said, we're going to have a little conversation with Marta. At the end, I'm going to ask a few of you to join in if you have questions at the end. But right now, we're going to pretend we're in our living room and chatting like we did. I had the pleasure of meeting Marta just yesterday, but I've followed her career since 2004, when the wonderful album Cantares de Agua Dulce was released. That was the first time I had heard anything. I just got the album in the mail. As a reviewer, we always get dozens and dozens of albums all the time. And that album really stood out as something very exceptional just from the first time I heard it. I wasn't the only critic that noticed it, because there's reviews that I've read all across the country that really understood that there was something unique about Marta and her music. Everybody noted the great songwriting, the musical skill that you'll hear tonight, and of course the great voice. People ran out of adjectives to describe her voice as exquisite and heavenly, and someone said that it was like an angel, and I think they were right. I don't want to be presumptuous, but I do want to quote one line that I had in my review of that album, long before Marta and I met. It was in November 2004 in the Times, and I said, of course, Marta as you know, comes from Colombia, and she was at the time a student at Berklee School of Music in Boston. So she was here in the United States as on a student visa, right? And of course, here in California, we know all about immigration controversy. So I wrote, anybody who comes here to make music this beautiful should automatically be given citizenship for making our country and the world a better place. Well, I didn't know I had influence with the INS, but it turns out that Marta used that quote in her application for residency. Now she has a green card.
I did.
So we're going to get her as long as she wants to stay here, I think.
Good.
So, this is the third time Marta and her group have played in Los Angeles, and it's the third time in a museum. Before, I think it was the Getty Museum and the Japanese Museum. Now we're at the Grammy Museum, and I think that's appropriate because, not to be trite, but the music really is like a work of art. So,
thank you.
I wanted to ask you to begin with, your roots are from Colombia. You were born in Cali, and you were raised there. And I think in the United States, we think of Cali, a lot of people associate that with the drug cartel.
Yep.
That's the first thing they might think about. As a salsa fan, I always think of it as the salsa capital of the world. And we know all the great salsa bands that come from there. There's actually a song called Cali Pachanguero, which means it's like saying Cali, the party city, because they love to dance and the salsa bands are terrific. You obviously are not a salsa group, but you come from a different tradition in Cali. And I just think that even for someone like me that's a music fan and knows a little bit about it, I don't think we know the depth of the music that comes from Colombia or from a place like Cali. So if you could just talk to us about the specific roots of the music that you tap into and that inform your music, and what can you tell us about that?
Well, first of all, thank you for all your words and the green card. And it's very interesting because it is a salsa city, Cali, but I had the bless of growing up singing in a choir. the choir of my school. I was born singing. That's what my mother said, because I was always like humming myself to sleep every night. And since I was a baby, and none of my family members whatsoever are musicians or can sing the Happy Birthday on tune. So, but of course they said, okay, something is wrong. Something is happening, because I was all the time like making noises and sounds, and you can tell when a baby likes music. And that's the reason why they enrolled me in a school that has a beautiful choir, and I became the soloist of that choir for 10 years. So the beauty of it, everything I own to that choir and to the conductor of the choir, Florencia Rengifo, I own her everything, because she takes music and she taught us taking music very seriously. That was a school choir, but still we had, all the commitments in the city and masses and weddings and everything. We were working already. And of course we had to rehearse every break. I didn't have any break, classes, then go to rehearsal, then go back to classes. Oh. So that was beautiful, because I never took music as my hobby. It was never, of course it was fun, but it was never, let's go to sing. It was like, okay, I have to go to sing. Like you're important if you're a member of the choir. And in that choir, we sang everything from classical music. She particularly loved folkloric music from the Pacific Coast, which is now starting to get more popular, but at that time nobody knew really about the Pacific folkloric. We knew vallenato, salsa, cumbia, but we didn't discover our beauty close to Cali, the Pacific Coast. So she helped me doing that. She actually introduced, after the school, I would go to her house to play guitar and sing the songs I wanted. So she introduced me also to the Cuban music, to the Argentinian music. She knew more Argentinian songs than my Argentinian musicians. So it was beautiful. So that was the start. And then now, when I decide to do this folkloric music, everything is natural, because I heard it when I was 4 years old.
Well, there's the discipline that you're talking about, I really think comes through in the quality of the work. The sort of the Pan-American scope of the styles that you play.
Yeah.
I wondered, sometimes people come to the United States from Latin America, they're slightly, they get away a little bit of a distance from the milieu that they're in. And I think they sometimes gain a little bit of a broader perspective.
Of course.
Did that happen to you in Berkeley, at Boston?
It happens to all my friends, actually. It wasn't only my case, but all my friends from Africa, from Brazil, from Argentina, from Ecuador, everybody seemed to take the distance and then appreciate when you're far away. But I think that happens to all of us as immigrants in some way or another. You start looking at your country as the most beautiful, your language is the most beautiful, your women are, with the distance, we appreciate. So that's definitely what happened. But in my case, I had the luck of meeting great musicians from other countries. So that was the reason why we created this sound without knowing it.
Right.
Because it's a mixture, as you said, of many countries.
Well,
so
that's sort of the result of the melting pot here.
Yeah.
I think that we meet, in terms of Latin American music, we meet Latin Americans from all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's how you share. This first song that we're going to hear, Carnavaliando, when I first talked to you about it, I sort of mistook it because I thought it may have been Venezuelan.
Yeah.
And you were gracious enough to say, oh, no, you're not wrong, because it's really a Bolivian Andean rhythm that we're going to hear. But there's something that you said so that I didn't feel guilty about not getting it right. Tell me a little bit about that, how maybe you've...
Well, the beauty is that I started composing songs when I was in the States with folkloric music. I always composed songs, but more into the pop and, the ballads and love. But then when I moved here, I wanted to compose folkloric rhythms and folkloric music, and with stories of the people from there, and a little bit more social and all that. But when I met all the musicians that now play with me and that have played with me for many years, it was beautiful, because I didn't know that much about Colombian music myself. So I said, okay, this I think is a bambuco, which is a Colombian rhythm. So I played a little bit, my version of it, and they were like, oh, it sounds like chacarera from Argentina. And then the other one, no, this sounds like... So we started mixing, and that's the sound that you're going to hear today. So it's not folkloric, puric, like... This rhythm, for example, is called carnavalito, but it's like what we call in Spanish, aire de carnavalito.
Oh, it's a taste of it.
Taste of it, because it's not really the real one. So when I told you that, is true. If you're from Venezuela, you can say, oh, but that sounds Venezuelan, because the roots are the same, indigenous Africans and Spanish. So we had the same people.
Very good. So that's it's a little bit of a fusion, made in the United States, made in America.
Exactly.
So with that, we'd love to hear it.
Qué linda forma de pensarte así, suspirando. Qué linda forma de quererte así, cantando, cantando. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Paso los días teniéndote así a mi lado y así queriéndote sigue mi voz cantando, cantando, y así en silencio te grita mi voz cantando. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Y así se me alivian las penas y así se me olvida el dolor. Cantando se van las tristezas y se me alegra el corazón. Y así se me alivian las penas y así se me olvida el dolor. Cantando se van las tristezas y se me alegra el corazón. Ay, qué bonita forma de pensarte así, suspirando. Qué linda forma de sentirte así, bailando, bailando. Qué linda forma de cantarte carnavaleando. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Y así se me alivian las penas y así se me olvida el dolor. Cantando se van las tristezas y se me alegra el corazón. Y así se me alivian las penas y así se me olvida el dolor. Cantando se van las tristezas y se me alegra el corazón. Ay, la 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 la. La 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la tra la ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya.
Well, that was beautiful. It looks like you might have taken a few dance lessons as well. I think if you didn't have the guitar,
Not really.